Hello, everybody. Father Scott Vanderveer here, and today I'm doing a little bit of thinking about what we've done to get to where we are today. Parents know that there's many developmental stages for their children. They know to expect that after an adorable, sweet, compliant baby becomes a toddler, there's going to be a lot more pushback, more tantrums, more difficulties. And parents generally know, especially if they're on their second or third child, that many of these problems do not need to be argued through or struggled with. A tantruming toddler does not really need to get what they want. I want to go to the circus right now, says the toddler at 8 p.m. No, that's actually not what they want. A wise parent knows you don't need to deal with the actual content of the tantrum. You just need to find the thing that will alleviate the distress. And almost always, it is food or sleep. A toddler who is tantruming cannot be reasoned with. They can only be soothed with either food to assuage their hunger or sleep to rest them and help them not be so upset. We do that with children, and perhaps we need to learn to do it with ourselves as well. We know that teenagers are going to make teenage mistakes, and if we're wise, we don't expect them to be adults. Even if they've grown taller than we are, we know that they are still children, older children, but children going through a necessary developmental stage on their way to adulthood. Our court system is the same. We don't try children as adults. A teenager is not treated the same way by the justice system as an adult does. And when we ever hear in certain cases where this person will be charged as an adult, it usually makes us gasp. There's some extenuating circumstance that causes us to say, wow, that's a very big departure from the way things are normally done. If we can do that for toddlers and we can do it for teenagers, can we do it a little bit for ourselves? Can we get the wisdom to pull just a little bit further away from us? Could we get maybe the 5,000-foot view of our life? Or if we've got a spiritual director or a therapist, perhaps we can even get further up to the 10 or 20,000-foot view. But if we can do that, can we learn more about who we are and where we are on the life journey? When I started making these videos, I was in my early 40s. And now I'm 50 years old. I'm a little different than I was then. Not wildly different, but I know that I'm going through some developmental stages. I've been through some midlife passages in the past however many years I've been doing this. Homilies have been going on this video channel for a decade now. And regular videos like the one you're watching started probably about 5 or 6 years ago, depending on when you're watching this. So I've gone through some changes since I started doing this. And it's interesting for me to get the distance above myself to say, oh, look at you. Your thoughts are changing and developing. Your experiences are changing you. Some are mellowing me. Others are causing me to become more focused, more urgent. My body is changing. And I'm watching aging affect me in little ways here and there. And so it's fascinating to be an observer of that. If I am an observer of that, then I can say, he's going through his early 50s right now. There's going to be some things that are going to be a part of that. And if I can look at myself from a loftier vantage point, maybe even if I could go forward to a future version of myself that I hope to live into, maybe an 85-year-old version of myself, and then look back, I could have a really interesting time seeing my challenges in a different way. I recently was visiting with one of our elderly parishioners, Harriet Rogers, who was turning 103. And I was asking her about the decades of her life that were the most memorable. After all, she's had 10. She's working on her 11th decade. And what she said was, I loved my 30s and 40s while I was raising my son and watching him grow. That was so joyful. She said, and then upon further reflection, but I think I loved my 50s even more. We were very involved in volunteering with a nonprofit organization that helped families who had children with Down syndrome. She said, I found that so rewarding, and I had the freedom to do it and had the youthfulness and energy to keep at it. I loved that answer. I thought that was so exciting. And of course, for me, how great to hear that one of her favorite decades is the one that I'm beginning right now. The famous psychologist, Carl Jung, said something that I think is so important for all of us. He said, the biggest problems of life, the biggest challenges that we face, are fundamentally unsolvable. We can't solve our problems. We can only outgrow them. There's deep wisdom there, deep spiritual import there. We can't solve our biggest problems. We can only outgrow them. That's really important to hear, I think. For example, a parent would never bring a toddler to psychotherapy to do a deep analysis on why the toddler insists on being so defiant. A parent would not bring their child to a psychologist to say, when she was a year old, she was so compliant. Before she started speaking, she was so easy to work with. But she has now become obstinate and says no to me a lot. Sometimes she asks for something, and when she doesn't get it, she becomes unreasonable. The therapist would say, she's just a toddler. She's growing through a stage. If you come back to me in 3 years, she will have outgrown this. I wonder if that's something we can do with our own lives too. What can we prepare to outgrow rather than fight against? Are we kicking against the prod that is urging us along the path of life? Are we going to hurt ourselves by kicking against the impulse to keep moving forward that's natural, that comes from how God made us, comes from evolution? Is it possible that we're trying to swim against the current in the white water rapids of life, and we're just going to hurt ourselves? Just go with it. The greatest problems that you face now may not be ever solved. They'll simply be outgrown. I think that provides a lot for us to think about. So perhaps we'll look at this over the course of a couple of weeks and ask ourselves, what is it that I have really, really been struggling with, but simply need to relax and outgrow? How might I be able to let go of needing things to be different than they are, so I can simply relax and outgrow this phase that I am in? What great questions for all of us who are on this journey, no matter who we are. May God bless you as you take the 20,000-foot view of your life. And may God be with you as you face the things that cannot be changed and learn to accept life on life's terms. God bless you all.